Previously. X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Why are you here?
It doesn't matter why you're here. You found us here at X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
It's part of life.
It is part of life.
It is. It's part of life. It's
Our show is a part of
an
life.
important part of life, I think.
In that we are alive and we do the show.
Yep.
All right, good.
Or are we alive?
Perhaps this has been. Maybe this
is this a simulation? Are we in a simulation? Damn.
God damn it, simulation again. Or maybe this is all pre-recorded and you and I were tied up in a basement or dead somewhere.
We had a metaphysicist on my Star Trek show, and he said there's about a 50% chance we're in a simulation.
50% chance that we're in a simulation?
Mm-hmm. He says there's a lot of evidence. But,
Jesus Christ.
You know. So don't worry about it.
To what end?
Just reboot the system.
To what end? I hope it's right. I mean, hey man, I'm all down for whatever weird ass explanations explain all the weird shit that happens in the world.
Well, it gets cool too.
There's actually a story. It's one of the best stories, but it doesn't end in a great way. In the this collection I read a while ago called "Out There Screaming," Jordan Peele put it together. It's like black creators doing short stories. I read it kind of over Halloween. Honestly, cat. Honestly, it wasn't Megan. He likes to try to claw the carpet, just get my attention. It drives me nuts. Anyway, it's about like people living in the world and weird things start happening and they start to bleed. One of the theories is that the simulation is winding down and that's why like things go black all of a sudden and like you can't see anything and the lighting is getting less and less and like areas like are disappearing. It's like that the bandwidth of whatever's running everything is slowing down. It's a very interesting concept, but it doesn't end in the night. Like most most stories don't end well. Endings are tough, but like most horror short stories, a lot of them seem like what do you call it? Auditions for a bigger book or a movie or something, right? Like they leave it open in a way that you're like, just give me an ending for God's sake. But anyway.
Well, there's a thought that once we all become aware that we're in a simulation, that's when they'll turn off the program.
So what about all the people that have come before us and died? Are they out of the simulation?
Oh, I guess so. I don't know. It's not my simulation. But who are we? I am your host.
Oh, man, that stinks.
You stink, Summers. God. Mr. Radavsky. And with me, as always, is my co-host.
He's never going to be your friend. You know that.
I consider you a friend.
Well, Mystique's mean.
Which one of you guys has been putting on weight?
Well, probably me. I don't work out every morning like Andre.
Well, it's not always the morning, but I try to do it 5 days a week. Try to do cardio 6. It doesn't always happen.
Oh, look. See your cat and raise another.
Mine's asleep on my foot right now. He bit me and then fell asleep on my foot. So this is indicative of the relationship we have.
Say something, Lulu.
Hey, Lulu.
No, it's quiet. You've been in a long time.
Yeah, she's usually quite vocal. There you go.
Yeah, oh, there we go. Yeah, and we are here at X-Rated Evolution to discuss Season 1, Episode 7 of X-Men Evolution, Turn of the Rogue.
What do you think happens in this episode?
Well, we'll find out. Written by Craig Kyle, Greg Johnson, and Rick Unger, and directed by Boyd Kirkland.
And Rick Unger is a great name.
Rick Unger became like a Fox liberal political analyst.
Oh,
and like has a radio show, and he's kind of
this is back when Fox actually tried to show that they cared about what the other side thought. There was a period they kind of did. Like they would have programs that had like a liberal guy and a Republican guy.
Yeah. So
in fact, Tucker Carlson was on a show like that for CNN, I think, before he got kicked off for something stupid and then went to Fox and became what he is now.
Maybe I'll get Rick Unger on your show.
Sure. He's liberal. I mean, hey, I'll talk to a Republican person. I don't care. But I feel like we're not going to... Conversations gel best when you're kind of aligned, and I don't know how aligned we'd be. But hey, you never know.
Never know.
Trying to find that empathy amongst humans that everybody keeps reminding us we need to have to get through trying times, and it's tough sometimes. But hey, stick with it, man. People are people. As flawed as we are, we're still people, and you have to try to empathize with it.
Some of us are mutants.
It's true. If you were a mutant, what do you think your power would be?
I think I should be able to grow my beard length at will.
Oh no, I think I was going to say you need like control over plants or something. You're like the gardening guy.
Oh yeah, I would take Black Tom Cassidy's powers for sure.
It's weird that a villain has that. I guess
Or
Poison
like
Ivy
Poison
has that
Ivy.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, her powers would work. I'm not as familiar with her powers. She can just grow plants if she wants, right?
I believe she talks to them too, or like she has because she's like physically
Black Tom
upset.
talks to
Like
them.
she's very upset when like they die and stuff. Like a friend died.
Yeah,
And
well,
depending
like
on I
that
guess
too.
what thing you're reading.
I talk to plants.
Oh. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
you're
you-
right. That's a better idea than the
Plant
beard
person.
thing. I mean, can I have both?
Well, maybe your beard is made of plants and it can grow long. It's
Oh,
like
that's
green and
perfect.
bushy.
That's
there you
even
go. It's
better,
like a
yeah.
moss.
This,
Yeah.
That's the character. That's my spirit
Right.
animal from now on. What about
That's
you?
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it that much. I feel like immortality, maybe, like in a way that
you
die
you
and
wouldn't
keep
have to
coming
have that
back.
dread all the time.
Exactly. I think that, or like I always kind of like Klaus.
You have a
like,
different dread. You'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna live forever." It's like kind
Yeah,
of stressful, and it's giving me
like the Umbrella
anxiety.
Academy guy. Like he keeps dying, but he keeps coming back with like new insight from the other side.
You could have Mr. Immortal's powers because then you could do like crazy stuff wrestling. You could risk
Death Urge would be my uncle or my
Yeah.
adopted father.
Is that what it was?
I think it was something
His
like that. We did it
adopted
not that
father.
long ago on the show. We did our top favorite
It's
mutants.
true. Well, we're gonna do that tonight too. Oh, well, not top, but we're gonna talk about some obscure mutants later.
Would it be? I mean, immortality seems kind of blah. I don't know. What
Yeah,
I do like water.
That.
I do really like water, like the ocean and stuff. So I'd
Yeah.
probably something Namor-ish.
You want Namor's powers? You
Well,
just
I
want to
mean,
be king of the sea,
I would love to
talk
be.
to
yeah.
whales.
I would love that. Whales would be very interesting.
I would
I'd
love,
love to talk to any of those whales. That'd be amazing.
Ever
Fish,
gone whale
octopi.
watching?
No, actually. I
Oh,
don't
man.
know. I've never had the
How about to
opportunity.
Briar Island? Get her done.
Get her done. All right.
All right.
I'll make a day trip with the wife sometime next year.
Oh man, Briar
Next year.
Island's fun because you got to.
Yeah, I had a friend who went there and spoke highly of it too. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about this episode, shall we?
You wanna?
Got any opening thoughts on it?
It's all right.
Yeah.
It gives a little more insight into where we're headed, but it also raises a lot of questions in the way that it's a show that's not really designed to give you all. I'm not saying it's not designed to give you all the answers. It's designed to quickly give you the story without necessarily filling in all the blanks. But there are quite a few blanks in this episode that I'm like, why? But why? And they're just like, man, okay, glossing
And
over that, moving on to the next thing.
And it sets up a situation going forward where I'm like, so are they just going to change the status quo, or are they just going to keep the status quo going and pretend like it doesn't matter?
The way they word it, we'll get to that in the story, is that they're just going to keep the status quo going. But now that they're aware of what the status quo is,
that seems crazy to me. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about that when we get there.
well, remember they're like, "Did you think we try to fight her? Like we're smarter than that." And you're like, "Okay, well, but we'll see."
Oh, jeez. Well, we'll talk about it.
All right. Well, we see one night what seemingly wait, am I in the right one here? Yes, I am. We see what seemingly is the some of the X-Men breaking into a facility to rescue Storm. Kitty's kind of phasing through some walls, getting past guards. Scott and Nightcrawler are being held up by Jean Grey, who makes a comment about one of them, how heavy they are, and Scott blames it on Nightcrawler for eating those burgers every
Which
day.
one of you guys has been putting on weight?
Yeah, burgers, the breakfast of mutants. He said.
Yeah, just he's eating burgers every single day. So eventually they manage to get into the facility, and they see Storm, who's kind of hooded, lying face down to the ground, who they assume is Storm, hooded face down to the ground. They kind of bypass a bunch of lasers, get down to, or the shooter chains off from a distance. Scott takes a couple tries, but he makes it on the third one. Then as he goes down to try to help her out, it turns out it's Rogue. And she says, surprise, touches him, takes his powers, uses his eye beams to dispatch Nightcrawler, and then starts to attack Cyclops, who calls off the program, and we realize, of course, he's in the danger room.
Scott, you're never to stop a simulation unless you're hurt.
Tossed me. That hurt.
Scott!
This is care about Nightcrawler. Scott, unless you're hurt.
I have an idea for an extra game at the end of the night, by the way. Remind me to bring it up to you. I think it might be
fun. You definitely can help me with the extracurriculars.
So basically,
coming up with a new game every week is not always easy.
Well, we don't always have to do them, you know.
No, I didn't really have one for tonight, so I'm glad you did.
So basically, Scott's upset that they would use Rogue as an example. Yeah, he demands to know why they put Rogue in the program, and Professor X merely says for the act of surprise, essentially, so to teach them to roll with the punches, as it were. Scott's a little...
that life comment came from it.
It's part of life.
He's like, it's just part of life. Like surprises are gonna happen, so I'm gonna put them in everything. He said.
Yes, I like your name, by the way. I didn't realize what it was, but you're the bus driver guy. That's right.
Yeah, I'm the bus driver, Mr. Radetsky.
Mr. Radetsky. Yeah, I wonder who does his voice because it sounded very familiar to me. I wonder if it's listed here.
He was like my favorite character in the episode.
Yeah, he sounds a bit like the guy that does the voice of Principal Vagina on Regina and Rick and Morty, but I don't think it's him. But he does sound a bit like him. Because he's like a comedian guy. He's really funny. So anyway, Scott's a bit upset by it because he doesn't think that Rogue should be considered an enemy because they're working hard to try to bring her on the team. Obviously, he seems to be having some kind of budding feelings towards her. Maybe not necessarily romantic, but it does seem like it's leaning that way, but who knows? So, you know, he's a little upset by that, and he kind of says that to Jean about how, you know, they're trying to make her part of the team. They should be considered.
Gambit hasn't shown up yet, that's all.
Oh, not yet. He'd been gone for a while. So then they go back to school and they get ready for their class trip, which is they're going spelunking. I think I don't know what kind of class trip this is.
They're going skiing, but they have spelunking gear. No, they're going to a cave.
Yeah, they're going spelunking because the storm comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
the which is interesting.
But they have snowmobiles. They just happen to have snowmobiles to get to this cave.
Right,
the bus is towing snowmobiles behind it.
Right. Yeah, interesting. Well, I guess Professor X is funneling this place, which is funny.
Is he? You think he's raising their budgets?
Somewhat. I mean, so anyway, when they're getting ready to go on the trip, they're I like the Radetsky tells Radetsky. Is that it?
He's Radetsky.
Radetsky. Okay, well, it's spelled Ridetski. So. Radetsky, who Radetsky tells everyone to put away their game toys, and everybody's like, "Oh, I just got a new one," which I thought was funny because obviously it's meant to be Game Boys, but they probably can't use that word. So
yeah, that was sort of going to be an X point, but
sort of mine too. But I was like, it's kind of like it's pretty simple.
I do miss Game Boy. I spent many hours playing my original Game Boy.
I haven't played this in a while.
Oh, you got a new fancy one there.
I've had this for a little while now, but I don't use it that often. I really got to dust it off and play it some more. It's fun.
Well, I have a Game Boy kicking around. You never know what's in these drawers. Game Boys.
So,
yeah, Game Boy. They're hard to see, so they're almost impossible to play like these days. When you're used to being able to see screens.
Right, yeah. So when Scott and Jean are talking, Scott is talking about how he doesn't think the Rogue should be considered an enemy in their training simulator, and he's overheard by Darkholm, who's lurking in the shadows, listening to them. When they get to the bus,
I'm telling you, this Cyclops is showing himself as like a pretty good young leader. You know,
yeah, I agree,
and as he should, showing himself to be more moral than Professor Xavier.
Well, I mean, there's still some parts about the end of this episode that I have questions about, but
yeah.
So inside the school gym, we see Rogue training by herself. She overhears Scott and Jean talking. Mentions Scott's not really interested in being friends with someone like Rogue. Darkholm appears and tells her that what she overheard. and kind of trying to make sure that she's on their side and not the X-Men side. So when she's upset by what she heard, she questions why she should be their enemy. Tells her to enjoy training. Kind of leaves her bag and leaves. So as Jean's getting ready to go, she's told that because of her having too many tardies, she's not allowed to go on the trip. Scott comes to defense saying that those are all excused and to call Professor X, but there's no time. They can't go to a phone. They have to leave immediately and then clear it up later. So she has to stay behind.
They don't have cell phones. They just have Game Boys.
They've already filled her spot, which of course is Rogue now, who's going on the trip. So Jean has to stay behind. So back at the Institute, there's a strong wind comes up. It looks like it's starting to storm. No, sorry, this is before the storm. As he starts to feel something, the window opens. Magneto appears, keeps him in place with his ability, his magnetic ability.
All right, double check your spelunking gear.
I like that guy.
Eric basically says that it's impressive.
I got that.
I've come to pay you a compliment. Your young charges, they seem to be flourishing under your tutelage.
But then he also tells Xavier that he obviously doesn't trust him, so he hasn't told him the truth about the school. And Charles tries to, rally against him somewhat. He gets kind of the window smashes and Magneto leaves. It's kind of interesting introduction of Magneto and Charles. I mean, obviously they know each other, but you really feel the power of Magneto. Like, he could have just killed him if he wanted to, like he's just obviously there's something else to play here.
Against the wall in one of the episodes.
Yeah, I think it was close to this one. He smashes. He throw him against the wall.
Yeah.
Xavier back towards the window. We're on impact. Yeah, so the window smashes and everything.
Yeah.
So the bus starts. Snow starts falling. The kids get excited, but then it tells them the trip be canceled. The weather gets too bad.
And Xavier seems afraid. In most
exactly.
X-Men things, Xavier never seems afraid of Magneto, but in this he does.
So the bus goes out of control in the snow. Everybody's freaking out. Scott manages to sneak to the back of the bus, uses powers to ride it somehow using his abilities. Radesky makes sure everybody's fine. But the bus fails to start after it stalls out, after it spins out there. So
there's a Radesky there.
Yeah. look at those chops. Look at those chops.
Pretty good.
So instead of sitting in the bus and waiting,
it's like Quartermain from the League of Extraordinary.
Yeah, he does kind of. Instead of waiting for help in the bus, Rogue suggests they all take the snowmobiles and go to the caves where they can get shelter. I think the bus would probably be better. I guess it'd be just as cold as the cave. It'd actually be warmer because it's a smaller space with all the people in it.
It doesn't last long, actually. Once you turn your car off, it's the same as the outside pretty quick.
No, but the body heat inside the smaller space would be held, would keep it a little warmer.
True. You can start a fire in a cave.
Yeah, we can start one on the bus. Just crack the window. Get a can.
The seats will be real good kindling.
So they drive up into Paris for the snowmobiles. Rogue provokes Scott and wanted to see who's faster. Rogue's partner is just another random student. Really doesn't want this to happen, and Scott's with his friend Evan Daniels.
Who also doesn't want it to happen.
He doesn't want it to happen either. But they do have this big crazy race, which just goes insane, and eventually, it's almost like Rogue didn't care if they put them in danger because of how reckless she was being in this sort of race.
We forgot about this.
Yeah, race powder.
This isn't a snowmobile trip, people. Too much of the white stuff means we turn around.
I said that. He said he'd turn around if the...
No, but this kid is excited about cocaine. And then the bus driver is just like, what if we do too much cocaine? I have to turn the bus around. This is before Marvel apparently, had the Deadpool.
We can't do enough
where they weren't allowed to talk about cocaine. This is before.
If you want to build a snowman, Devin?
I can't. I have kids.
You can still do cocaine if you have kids. There's a lot of people in the world doing cocaine who have kids.
Oh, I know there is. I'm not one of them.
All right. Well, I'm just making sure. I've never done it before, but if I were to start, I don't know if it'd be right now on the show. So he's Scott questions how a Southern girl like Rogue got so good with the snowmobile since she grew up in the South where there's no snow. She's full of surprises, goes into the cave. Inside the Institute, Logan tells Xavier, why not just tell the students the truth? Xavier wonders how he'd begin telling them that their enemy Mystique is the principal of the same
How do you
person.
tell students that their principal, whom they're supposed to respect, and their enemy are one and the same?
Look, if there's anything those kids are used to doing, it's keeping their cool and keeping their secrets.
They're pretty good at keeping their secrets. They get sloppy sometimes.
Storm and Jean come in, tell them that there's a blizzard in the area where the students are. They're surprised Jean's still there. She admits she couldn't go because Principal Darkholm had stopped her. And Xavier mentions more troubles on the way. So the cave, Radesky takes a moment to try to teach the kids about metamorphic rock on the walls.
I sort of have that clip as part of the science theme.
So in review, metamorphic rock.
Metamorphic rock.
Metamorphic rock.
He
just goes on and on. It actually trails off with him still talking.
It teaches you a little bit about metamorphic rock, though. It's claimed
it's good.
Caused by heat, chemical change of extreme pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So Rogue wanders off while they're listening to him, and he's telling the kids to point out more indigenous rocks as they go. Scott stops, notices Rogue's leaving, goes after.
Honestly, given the setting, it would be nice if they did more of that in this show. With the school setting, just like so some
out on more field trips.
It doesn't even have to be in a field trip. The classroom, or just hear it going by in the hall. Who knows? Just throw some stuff out there. Why not? Make it another element of the show. Make it richer.
Yeah, well, it's I can see why. I can see the crumbs of why people like this show. I know everybody says it gets better as it goes, so I can see it coming. So yeah, eventually Rogue surprises him, comes face to face, and wants to know why the X-Men are after her. And Scott tries to tell her the truth that they're not. They want her to be their friend. But Rogue brings up the fact that they're training against her, and he tries to explain that as well. But before he can do all that, Paul shows up. So Rogue then tells him she's not bothered, and she goes to leave as Paul stands her way and asks the two are all right. That Mr. Radesky wants to know where they are. And then it turns out that Paul is in fact Mystique, who has tricked Paul into not getting on the bus and taking his form. Mystique then pushes Scott off a cliff, telling Rogue that it's time to get over this crap and join the bad guys.
It's time to get over old Splat Summers over there.
Splat Summers is nice. So she wants to know why she did that. And Mystique says protect her from the X-Men's lies. Rogue questions what happened to the real Paul, tells him that she screwed up his departure times. But Rogue doesn't believe it, and they said they have to go together and tell the class that Scott died in an accident. So as they start walking towards her, she uses her abilities to steal some Mystique's powers and her memories and sees the truth, which is that the X-Men's bad attitude towards her was caused by them, and that Destiny had wiped her memory. So Mystique collapses. Rogue runs to the edge. Scott's still hanging on from a little rock. She takes Mystique's form, jumps down, and then he gets scared thinking it's Mystique attacking him, so tries to back. He starts to let go, but then Rogue takes her real form and grabs him, helps him, which is nice. So this is a nice moment. So she admits to Scott that Mystique's a bad influence and all that stuff. So as the Blackbird arrives, the X-Men are there to help. Storm's trying to temper the storm as much as she can so they can get in. Mystique sees them arrive.
As much as she can. She could snap her fingers and make that shit.
She says she's doing the best she can. Her actual line from the movie, from the show.
Underpower and Storm is not okay with me.
Scott and Rogue are being attacked by a wolf, who Rogue believes is Mystique. Xavier telepath reaches Scott and hopes he can hear them and learns that he's hurt. So then Logan, how they'll find them in the weather. Scott tells Rogue that they'll be rescued soon and tells her the struggle to find her. So she takes off his glasses so he can shoot a beam in the air so they can see him through the storm and then come to his rescue, which has a fun little fight with Wolverine and Mystique.
He's got the best flare gun you could ever have.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Hopefully there's no planes, satellites, or gliders or anything in the above.
Hopefully not. Oh, shit. Oh, no, the plane.
He just shoots it straight up, and all of a sudden you just see a plane on fire going down in the background.
Oh, no, I hit the Blackbird. That's not the Blackbird. Oh, no.
So they get
Lulu's
into a
back.
fight. Hey, Lulu. So they get in a fight. Logan gets in a fight with her. Rogue joins the battle, taking Scott's power, shoots at Mystique, who falls off a bridge, but then turns.
Rogue always looks cool with Cyclops eye beams.
Yeah,
like did in the other show too.
Mystique flies away, turns to a bird and flies away.
Mm.
So Xavier gets a Blackbird in. Logan jumps off. Basically, when they're heading back, Logan says, are you with us or are you not with us? And she says, well, if I say I'm not, are you going to throw me out of the plane? And he says, we don't do that. We failed to convince you to join us. It's on us that we haven't proven to you that we're the good guys yet. And she understands the sincerity of what he's saying and agrees that she's with them. So Rogue is the title of the episode, which is obviously telling you what's going to happen. Rings true.
They should have called it something else. I don't think it's not that great of a title that you need to sacrifice the plot for it.
So that night at the Institute, Gene and the other students, now with Rogue, are told the truth.
We got this here.
Nope.
If I don't say you, will I get thrown out of this jet?
Nope, not our style. We've either earned your trust by now or we haven't.
Yes. Yep. No, it's a nice little moment. And I like Wolverine's kind of more of a leader in this, which is nice.
Yeah, that's a good Wolverine line. It's just I can't get used to the delivery yet.
Well, you're pretty hung up on the other guy, and I understand. Now he's obviously better, but this one's good.
But even Jackman, I'm fine kind of more with his delivery too. This one, it's taking me some getting used to. It just there's something about it that's just not ringing like
everything
Wolverine.
Seems a little bit like he's bored. When you're like, all right, I'll go to the store. It's kind of like that.
It's fine.
But not always, it's just anyway.
I think it's just he's not rough enough around the edges. He's just very calm. Yeah, maybe he's bored, you'd say, but
this is a little more team player Wolverine. So
yeah, it is. It's just, we'll probably see the other side. Like he'll probably change too, and we'll get to see. There's like a Wolverine's past episode coming up soon.
Yeah. So anyway,
Weapon X lies in videotapes kind of thing. I think
they're told the truth about that their principal is Raven. The students said they should have known, and Xavier agrees. He says that they say it's like we were playing with fire, and we didn't even know it was fire. And they're like, do you think we were going to go attack her without we'll carry things on the way they are, but now we know the truth, we can be better prepared. And Rogue says the trust is really important because she hasn't had much of it in her life, and that the X-Men, that if they're going to work together, Scott says what makes them the X-Men is that they have trust. Xavier does tell them that while they're ready to know most secrets, there are some that he can't tell them now. And that's sort of it. But that's
a stupid thing for him to say, kind of, because it's just going to make them not trust him.
But it's also like,
whatever.
Why? Why is Raven the principal? Why did Xavier know she's the principal?
And why are they okay with it going forward?
Yeah, we didn't even know that he knew she was. We didn't even know he knew she was the principal of the school until now. So we didn't know that up till now. And he knows Xavier's Minnie was working with him, and they're all hanging around the school together, and he's cool with it. And he's sending students.
He's going to keep sending them there. He's just going to keep sending them to Mystique's school. That's his plan. I don't know.
It's odd. Anyway,
that's
end of episode.
We'll see where they go with that, but that seems like a problem.
Something's in the mix there.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our next segment of the night here. X ratings. From 1 to X.
You go first this time.
7.
Yeah. I don't want to say I liked as much the last episode, but not that bad. So let's go 7.
Middleverse is still my favorite episode, I think. That or maybe the first one. The first one was pretty good. Yeah,
I'll go 7 too.
Pretty good episode. I'm glad this will she won't she thing's over. I'm glad that Rogue's on the X-Men now, so that makes things better going forward.
Yeah. Also, if they're doing a love triangle thing, it makes it more interesting for that too.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about that here in a minute, maybe. All right. Let's Uncanny X points. Why don't you go first?
Want me to go first?
Yeah.
All right. In this episode, Mystique turns into a wolf and an eagle. 2 things that she can't take the form of animals that aren't anthropomorphic in the comics, I believe. So this is unique to this show that she's able to do this.
Is that so?
That's what I read. That she only take the forms of people, not like a smaller or bigger animal. So she couldn't be a bear or whatever. But in this she can apparently, which makes her powers even stronger because instead of just taking the form of strong mutants, I guess she can actually take on giant animals like a bear or an elephant or something.
Okay, here's my first X point. The snow effect. I loved it, actually. I thought the snow effect was really good. I don't know how they did that. It's probably, they just put it over after the fact. But whatever it was, it looked really good. Looked like a real snowstorm, kind of. One of the best I've seen on like a cartoon of that era, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. My second point, during the training simulation at the beginning when Rogue is secretly, when they think it's Storm, but it's secretly Rogue, he's actually wearing Storm's uniform. It's just green. So I thought that was kind of a nice touch.
Yeah, it is. Okay, the next one. Okay, so Ryak. I was talking about it before. Like, Ryak is the character from Stargate, and he played by Neil Dennis, who's the voice of Spike. And I thought maybe he was older, so I went back and watched a bit of Stargate. And he actually ages through the show some. So, like, when this started, he actually was kind of a kid. And that's why he does sound younger than the other. Yeah, so good job. He's a good child actor, but I don't think he acts anymore.
My third point is that Mr. Radetzky is a terrible teacher when he's in the cave and he tells the kids that metamorphic rock are made from heat, extreme pressure, or chemical change. That is incorrect. Heat and extreme pressure both cause igneous rock and not metamorphic. Terrible. Spelunking. He's taking them on a spelunking trip to teach them about rocks. And does you know what a fucking metamorphic and igneous rock is? Come on.
God, I'm changing my name. I don't want to be named after that hack. The love triangle. What can I say? It's not going to be Wolverine because that would be weird. So,
yes.
So they're just adding.
He's really just
Rogue.
It'd be interesting if it was Wolverine. Like he was hitting on the student.
Oh wow! It's like it's timed. I deleted that. That's not even on my soundboard anymore.
I'll tell you, buddy. It's still showing up.
Shows up at the same time every night. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm hacked.
Be a very interesting hack.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your point? Oh, the love triangle, yeah. I mean, I'm okay with it.
I mean, it's better than Wolverine.
Yeah, for sure. He's like 18-year-old. He's like
no, but like even in the other show, like I've never liked the Wolverine Scott Jean thing. So I kind of
it's such a long running part of X-Men. It's not just the other show; it's in X-Men.
I know, and I'm not a fan. Really?
Wow, you love everything X-Men.
I know it's just not my favorite part.
Okay.
It's too long running a part of X-Men.
I see what you're saying.
Because it did. Even when Cyclops got with somebody else, Emma Frost, it's not like Jean and Wolverine, like, oh, sweet, now we can hook up. That never happened. It's like it never was really a thing.
Yeah. Our next point is Scott's eyes are blue, as we see in this episode. So that's not really something that normally comes up very often. They're brown in the other show, I believe, because he has the same eyes as Cable, his father's eyes.
Well, Cable they call blue eyes, don't they? He is blue.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, it's the way they animate it sometimes. They don't usually show the blue until you're right. They do a close-up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still too much hologram for me. Like, but Nightcrawler should, like, even when he's just hanging around with the other mutants at the mansion, he's still using his holographic projection. Nightcrawler should just be Nightcrawler. I want to see Nightcrawler. It's the coolest design of like a superhero character. Don't rob us of Nightcrawler. If he's at the mansion, turn him blue. Come on, X-Men Evolution. I know it's all over and there's nothing you can do to change anything. But
it's over 20 years ago.
Yeah. All right, back to you.
My last one. What do I got? Yeah, I mean, It always sort of annoys me because, like in fiction, whenever they get to go, things go so long. They have to explore every possible avenue, right? Like if you had stories that just went, like a BBC series, you just went a couple seasons. You got you got 30 episodes of the show. They wrapped it up. It's a nice condensed story that checks all the boxes. But with comics, you always got to like reinvent, go approach things from different angles because it's been going for 70, 80, 90 years for some of these characters, and it's like. I always like, why is Xavier always secretly some kind of evil person? Why can't he just not evil? But he's always like some kind of nefarious, and there's some kind of thing you didn't tell everybody, some kind of a reason why he's not as good as everybody says he is.
But he's supposed to be like the representative of how complex some of the issues are, and like how
in the good side of it. Well, Magneto's supposed to be the bad side of it. That's the point.
More like even like
you're really
trying to do what he's trying to do is like murky.
Well, yeah, but just like shades of gray, or that's what modern fiction mostly is. Everything shades of gray now. And it's like, I don't know. I still think we need a little black and white in this world.
That's why I like Spider-Man. I like good guy. I just like to cheer for a good guy.
Yeah, well, there's lots of those. I mean, but like anything, eventually they something. Remember when Aunt May got killed and then he wore the black suit and was going to kill the Kingpin?
Yep.
Yeah, so there's all that kind of stuff. Then One More Day happened, and that was weirder. But anyway,
Elektra died, and Daredevil went to kill the Kingpin, and then
Daredevil actually probably
would have called him like a sad, pathetic little man, and he cried and went away.
In this issue, actually,
it's the next one where he goes.
Yeah, that's the one where Bullseye gets killed or kills her.
Yeah, that's a great issue. I have that one as well.
It was a gift from a friend. They're like, they don't know anything about comics. They just went to a comic book store that sells used books and bought it for me. So said it looked interesting, and I was like, "This is actually a really cool issue. Thank you." And on a whim, they didn't even know it was anything of importance in the comic world.
Classic issue.
I know.
Not just because of like the events that happen. It's just a really well written issue. It's great stuff. The one I like the one after it even better. The one where he goes to see Kingpin. One of my favorite Daredevil issues ever.
Yes.
My last X point. Well, you know how in like TAS it's like Scott, Jean, Scott. Rogue gets to yell Scott in this one. So I'm like, oh, that she is part of the love triangle. She's yelling Scott. I was just waiting for him to yell Rogue, but it didn't really happen yet. But it might, and then we'll know it's an official love triangle. Then we will know.
The people. All right.
The people will know we were here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to this one.
Hey, check it.
Hey, check it. This is our comic reminiscences and recommendations. Do you want to go first or shall I?
You go ahead because I was in a bit of a rush and didn't actually pull the book in. So I got to think.
All right, well, go looking for it. I have a couple anyway. So, one, if you're a Star Trek Lower Decks fan like myself, it's coming to an end unless there's a sneaky reboot happening, which, not reboot, but sneaky sequel coming, which could happen, but I don't know.
They're not really the Lower Decks anymore, are they?
Exactly, which I just think like Lower Decks is coming in. I'm like, yeah, because it'll just be called something else, and like maybe the crew will continue. I don't know. But Lower Decks #1 just came out in comic form. So if you want to continue the adventures of the Cerritos, go Ritos. This is where you're going to have to do it. Ryan North, one of the best writers. I love Ryan North. I don't know if it's like trope of doing all the subtext at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You don't like that or do you like that?
Squirrel Girl and stuff. Oh, I love it. It's like you get twice as much comic. Like it takes you twice as long to read a Ryan North comic because of all that stuff. And yeah, the art looks great. Different writer, Chris Finoglio, who's going to be on your show.
He already was.
Did the earlier Lower Decks.
I've already talked to him. We're going to talk to him.
He didn't do the series. No, so I get the Megan Wagon variant cover. Very cool. And just because of the fact that I did listen to the Graphic Histories podcast this morning with my coffee, as I do on Monday mornings. Craven's last time.
Long coffee. It's like an hour long coffee.
I drink a lot of coffees in the morning. Yeah. Go read Craven's Last Hunt. Yeah, it's great. Great writing by J.M. DeMatteis. Look at that. Great stuff. Look at this classic cover there.
Yes, sir.
That's a great cover, but I still think I like this one better. I love that Craven one.
Yeah, I know, me too.
So good. One of the best, like you guys even said on the show, like I think it was you that said it's one of, if not the best Spider-Man story ever. It's a great story.
It certainly claimed to be.
Mm.
By many.
One of my favorites.
So I just had a question with Star Trek Lower Deck because I didn't realize this until recently. The ship's called the Cerritos, right? It's a California class ship.
Yep.
And Cerritos.
All the California classes are
named after places in California. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
And then there's a.
So is there a Francisco class or a? So all the ships are named after places in California. All the
yes,
okay.
Of that class, and there's another class that keeps coming up in that show. Oh my god!
Yeah, there's a Texas class which is used quite a bit in that show too.
Well, once in one episode, they're actually drones, but there's a class that all the ships are named after Canadian cities. Like there's the Vancouver.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, and I think there was the Winnipeg. They're nicer than the California class ships.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that's pretty funny.
All right. Well, my suggestion for comic will be to read the new book by Mr. DeMatteis, which would be the Shadow of the Green Goblin Spider-Man series. It's really fun. I really, really dig it. It's a nice throwback to like an early Spider-Man story where like Uncle Ben just died and he's working through his grief, him and Aunt May. Well, he's fighting the Proto-Goblin who's going after Harry, who Peter doesn't really know yet, but is incidentally just saves a few times from this guy. The Proto-Goblin's a character that is not necessarily one of the coolest Spider-Man characters, but one I've always thought was all right. So it was kind of cool to see him back. And, DeMatteis really like gets Spider-Man. Like the way he writes it is very, very good. And it's nice to see him returning to that world and getting to do a book back in the young Spider-Man days.
Yeah, he's got some more Spider-Man stuff coming, I think.
He sure does. Yes, he does. We talk about it in the show.
Yeah, so that's exciting stuff for Spider-Man fans, which you all should be. Yeah. So, I guess our recommendations is go read some J.M. DeMatteis.
That's right.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, Moonshadow. Go read Moonshadow.
Brooklyn Dreams.
Brooklyn Dreams, yeah. Which is a remake of Moonshadow, which you'll find out by listening to that episode.
Mm. Did you forget to grab your movie too?
I sure did. I didn't have time to do anything today, man. I'm in a rush. Big old rush. I'm just going to suggest a movie I watched yesterday, which I liked. It's in the theater now. It's called The Conclave, starring Ralph Fiennes. It's about when the Pope dies. It's about the group when they come together on the Cardinals.
Oh, right.
Select the Pope. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's a perfect no, but I like the quote. Ralph Fiennes is an excellent actor, and he's at top form in this movie. And you got John Lithgow in there. You got Stanley Tucci. So it's the Tooch. There's also sort of I wouldn't call him an evil cardinal, but definitely not like the protagonist cardinal who vapes. So I just find it funny when you see like all these people arguing in this room in Italian, and this guy's in the back just vaping. Made me laugh.
It's pretty funny. All right, good.
But yeah, it's a fun movie. Check that one out. As far as that one goes, I'm trying to see what else I saw recently. I always usually throw a few at you. I saw Heretic, which is all right. It's not perfect, but it's a decent movie. The Hugh Grant horror movie that just came out. And check that one out too. And tomorrow night at the movie night I host, we're watching Tremors. So go watch Tremors.
Watch Tremors. I love Tremors.
And watch all.
I think they're redoing it with like some of the same cast or something.
Well, they did a pilot for a TV show with Kevin Bacon that didn't get picked up. That's out there somewhere. I don't know if you can watch it, but it was made. It just never got picked up. So unfortunately, never did. But if I recall correctly, I heard they're doing a sequel movie with Kevin Bacon back. So
yeah,
it's
that's
like
what I meant. Yeah.
What the concept for the TV show pilot didn't fly, so they're just going to make it a movie now and then try it again. So who knows?
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go learn about some history.
Testing me.
There will be a test at the end of this, so you better be paying attention.
I'm not.
Well, one thing we see a lot of in this episode is snowmobiles. I was actually going to name myself Skellmobile, but then I thought that's stupid, naming myself after an inanimate object. I could name myself after a shitty teacher like Mr. Radesky.
Man doesn't know rocks.
Does not know. Well, maybe he's not the geology teacher, and he's just trying to be a jack of all trades out on this field trip. You got to give him
possible
credit for trying if that's the case. So, snowmobiles. If you're a Canadian, you've probably grown up and seen the heritage moment that discusses the person who created the first snowmobile. That would be, of course, Joseph Armand Bombardier from somewhere in Quebec. Not exactly sure where. Yeah, it's like that classic heritage moment where he's like holding the train and he lets it go and it starts to go forward. And he's like using all his candy money to buy parts to build things and that sort of stuff.
I forgot about that one. That one didn't get as much rotation play as the other ones did. Yeah.
No. Hey,
for me anyway.
He says.
Yeah, I can pay. Yeah, I remember that now. Bombardier.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So the first snowmobile that he built was like in the 20s, and it looked like this. So a bit clunky. Solid. It's like you call it the air sled or something like that because it has that propeller on the front.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of sketchy. So that didn't really go so well. And then he kind of moved on to this thing here, where it just kind of looks more like a tank with some skis on the front.
Yeah, well, at least you're enclosed inside it. It's not the snow's going in your face or the wind.
Like this was in the early 30s, and he made that just strapped a Ford Model T engine in there. And then the first one he made commercially, which I think they may have even used during the war in 1937, was this one. It's a 7-seater. So the first
it's like a bus.
snowmobile,
it's like a little mini bus.
Was a 7-seater. It's pretty serious. It would be hard on gas these days. You wouldn't want to drive that around. It probably weighs like tons, like just tons and tons. It looks pretty heavy. You'd need good snow. It doesn't snow that well anymore. So there was that in the 37, and then in 59, the first Ski-Doo by the Bombardier company comes out, and that's this one. It's a little boxy, but I'm sure it got the job done at the time. So that's the history kind of the snowmobile. Joseph Armand Bombardier. Go check out the heritage moment. They're all available on the YouTubes. And check it out.
Nice.
Yep. So, you ever been snowmobiling, Andre?
No, I've been sea-doing. This is kind of similar, isn't it?
Yeah, same with me. I never went snowmobiling either. We're supposed to be snowmobilers. We grew up in Canada. It's more of a Quebec thing.
I didn't really know anybody that had one.
People had them around.
And dune buggies and stuff like that. I've never did Sea-Doo.
No. Yeah, Sea-Doos are great. Bombardier probably makes them too. All right. So you have an extracurricular for us, do you? That's fun.
Well,
Let's hit the tunes.
I'm trying to. Did we do
Ernie Isley there or something?
I think we should dreamcast the X-Men in the Marvel Universe.
Oh wow, have we not done that before? Oh, well, we can do it again.
Kind of talked about it, but I think you and I should hash out exactly who it should be. We'll come down between you and I to agree who it should be, and at the end we can present it and see the full team.
We have to agree on who the team is too, like character-wise.
Sure, but we'll start with the big one. So we'll just each time we do this, we'll do one.
Okay.
Professor X.
One tonight.
Professor X.
Okay, we'll just keep this game going for a couple months.
Yeah, all absolutely. Right. We'll pick one. We'll do a core team, and then we'll pick, one of each.
Okay. Professor X.
I got mine easy, but it's yours. I want to hear what you got.
What's yours?
What's mine? No, Bryan Cranston. I think he'd be a great Professor X. He's getting up there too. So yeah, the whole movie where he's in a wheelchair already. So
Oh yeah,
that one with Kevin Hart where he was like a rich guy that was in a wheelchair because he got in an accident. Kevin Hart was like the guy that he hired to like look after him. It was a decent movie actually. It's one of the more.
How does he look bald?
Have you watched Oh, you don't watch Breaking Bad.
Nah.
He's bald for most of Breaking Bad. He looks great.
How's it look? Look pretty good.
Right.
All right.
Just
All right.
Google
You know
it.
what? I won't fight you on that one. I don't have a better idea. Everyone I can think of is like British, but like Professor X isn't British, and
I know that's one
Yeah.
thing I'm a little like I don't want him to be British this time around.
Yeah, neither do I. So
I think Cranston's a great turn. He hasn't done anything in the Marvel Universe yet. He's getting a little older. He's got a great gravitas. His voice is great. You know, I think he'd be fantastic.
Well, let's do a couple more and cast Magneto then. We got to do the new McKellen Stewart pair.
Okay, I got my pick, but I don't know.
Now this person probably should be European.
Yes,
potentially. You're gonna say Daniel Craig, right?
I
am. Interesting.
And he can do voices. We know he can. So I think or accents. So I think if you want to give him a European accent, he can. But I think he's fine with his English accent.
He's already in the MCU, so he can't use Mads Mikkelsen. But I always thought he'd be pretty good as Magneto.
I wish he would have been Dr. Doom. He would have been
or
awesome
Doom.
Dr. Doom.
We got Iron Doom instead.
Yes.
We'll
just because they wanted the shock value of like Robert Downey Jr. coming back. I'm interested to see what they do with it. I'm not going to judge it until I see it. I'm sure I'll like it.
Oh my God, why? It's worse since I deleted it. This is just a disaster. X-rated evolution is evolved into freaking glitches, I'll tell you that. So, Magneto, Daniel Craig, eh?
You got to convince me someone's better, and I'll agree, but I don't. The thing is with the Marvel Universe, so many people have been in it already.
It's
like
true.
So many big names. So it's like if you wanted to be a big name actor, I guess, then you know the pool is smaller. Although actors,
you know who also would play a good Magneto? Christoph Waltz.
Too small.
Daniel Craig's little too.
Is he? He's not that little.
He's kind of little and dumpy. You know?
He's not dumpy.
If he's tall, then he's like the thickest.
Especially now with like his gray beard and his longer graying hair, I think he'd be great at it. He is, how old is he? He's 178 meters, 1.78 meters. So that's not that tall. 1.78 meters to feet is 5'8".
See, like
you can throw lifts.
Christoph Waltz is probably like 5'10".
Throw some lifts.
He's just not jacked, right? But like, how jacked does Magneto need to be? Like,
he doesn't need to be.
We don't exactly.
No,
McKellen wasn't at all, right?
Waltz would be good. He's also significantly older, by about 10, 12 years older than Craig. So there's that too. But he's 1.7 meters, so he's a little shorter, but not by much. You put some lifts in his shoes. I think he'd be all right.
Well, I don't know about Daniel Craig. I don't know. I think we can come up with somebody better than that.
I disagree. I think he'd be great. He hasn't played a real solid villain in a while.
Has he ever played a villain?
Oh yeah.
How was he with like big speeches? Like,
great.
I just remember his Bond doesn't really say anything.
Have you watched like Get Out or not Get Out, Knives Out or The Glass Onion? Yeah, he's great in those. He's a Southern.
Those are comedies, aren't they?
Well, I mean, they're comedic.
Like, I think we need somebody with more gravitas.
Dude, he's in lots of serious stuff. Like Defiance, the war movie. He was in that weird
I like
Greenhouse movie. Yeah, he was in that weird Cowboys versus Aliens. I'm not saying it's a great movie, but it was a serious movie. You know, he was good in it. That Logan Lucky, the Steven Soderbergh movie, he's really good in that. He plays a Southern guy in it, but it's also kind of funny. But no, I think he's great. I really do.
Well, we might have to revisit Magneto.
That's why I said one a night.
Yeah, one a night. I'll come back next time with like a Magneto suggestion. That'll be the one for next week, maybe. Okay. My goal is to convince you that Daniel Craig is not the right choice.
I'm sure you probably could if you brought the right guy.
I'm gonna do it next week.
Did you hear Did you hear about the stuff for the? They announced some of who's playing who in the Fantastic Four movie.
Did they announce it more?
They announced who John Malkovich is going to be.
He's the
Red Ghost.
Red Ghost. That's a great casting.
I hope he has the monkeys, so the apes with him.
Of course, he has to have the monkeys.
I know, the apes got to be there.
I want to see the Fantastic Four go to space, him be jealous and just rush it into production with no crew and just like take these monkeys into space, and then they all get like smart and shit. That's what I want to see.
I really, really, really want to see Paul Giamatti play the Mole Man. That'd be awesome.
No, we have a Mole Man. That Paul Walter Hauser.
Oh, is he a Mole Man?
Of course.
We don't know that for sure.
I think he's Mole Man.
I forgot he was in it. That's cool.
Yeah, I think he's Mole Man.
You think we'll see?
I think they want to have Mole Man in the very first Fantastic Four villain in the comics.
Well, we knew that Ralph Ineson is Galactus. We know that girl is whose name I can't remember, Silver Surfer. So
that Ralph Ineson does have a great voice.
The guy from The Witch, he's awesome. He definitely is a great Galactus voice for sure. You couldn't like. I think Liam Neeson and Antonio Banderas are all like in the running. Banderas is not great at hiding his accent, so that'd be interesting. He's super Hispanic Galactus, but
whatever. I guess that's funny. But Anderson was a good choice.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I'm so gonna convince you there's a better Meg.
Go ahead, you can't. You
can't wait for next week.
You easily could. I just really like Daniel Craig. I think he'd be great in that role.
I think he'd be good at something.
I think he'd be great in that role. He's a very good actor. Very good actor. The piercing blue eyes and the helmet would fit his head just fine. There's some lifts in his shoes. I think he'd be great. Especially now, if you look at him now with like he's got long hair and like a silvery beard, he looks very close to the
Magneto guy. Probably shouldn't have piercing blue eyes, given his ethnicity.
Jews can't have blue eyes.
Well, I mean, it's not typical of like that era. I don't think because it was like the Aryans were all about that. They were all about
they're about being super tall, having blue eyes and blonde hair.
Yeah, so I don't think that's something they necessarily associated with Jews.
But they also wouldn't be making him a World War II survivor in this story.
No,
so
they have to reinvent that and see what they'll go with. He'll just be like whatever, some other war.
Vietnam, I don't know. There'd be something that he was
attempted genocide or something.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's enough of them in other countries, so I'm sure he could.
Exactly. I'm trying to think of somebody from some TV shows that I watched that's better, like Game of Thrones or Vikings or something.
No, Sean Bean would be an all right one. I would be all right with him.
Sean Bean is Magneto. No, that's not right.
Well, we got our Xavier. Okay, let's go with that.
Yeah, we got our Xavier.
We will do Magneto next week. So how about we'll do it so that
I do think Cranston could play that sketch bag that Magneto or Xavier is like. He'd be playing all nice, and you'd just be like, he would still have it like kind of behind his eyes, where you'd be like, what?
Also, he has
really
being he has experience being the bald-headed leader of a group of unruly teens. He played Zordon in the Power Rangers movie from a few years ago.
Oh wow! Okay, didn't that flop?
It wasn't a great movie. He was fine in it, but Zordon didn't have, was Zordon. Bill Hader, I think, was Alpha. If I recall correctly.
Who was Rita Repulsa?
The girl she directed Cocaine Bear. She's directed the new Charlie's Angels movies. She's in Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
She's an actress too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was in Slither. Jesus. Hold on. Elizabeth Banks. She was Rita Repulsa.
I'm probably not going to rush out and see that one.
Oh, it's not that great. Don't watch it.
Who do you think would win in a fight, the X-Men or the Power Rangers?
X-Men probably. I mean, Power Rangers are cool, but X-Men just have a way bigger history.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's roll. Let's get this going. I want to watch a movie before I go to bed.
All right, one more segment here tonight. And I can shut this cursed, godforsaken soundboard off. Yeah, it's stressing me out. There we go.
I'd like you to meet someone.
We have a new student. We have two new students, actually, to talk about here tonight. Why don't you go first, because you sent me yours before I picked mine. And here he is.
The postman. It was
A Morlock.
A Morlock, and a man with the ability to make you forget other people in your life, but he can't undo it. So if he makes you forget, it's forgotten forever. And he inadvertently, by mistake, made his wife and family completely forget who he was, and that's how he came to be joined the Morlocks and live underground.
That was from a Morlocks miniseries. Yeah, I haven't read it, but that sounds pretty funny. There he is with Angel Dust and some recognizable Morlocks.
Yeah, the cool looking little character there. I thought he was neat. I just like the idea that he made his family forget about him. I think it's hilarious.
That is hilarious. All right.
No, I mean it's tragic. I'm sure in the book it's done tragically, but just sort of fun.
All right. Well, my pick is this handsome fella here. Peepers.
Oh, geez. There's Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, exactly. Paul Giamatti as Peepers is perfect. Okay, let's lock that one in.
We're not putting Peepers in the X-Men movies, so no.
Yes, we are.
No,
We need hilarious side characters. We need Brotherhood members. He was in the Brotherhood. Paul Giamatti as Peepers. Lock it in. He would make such a good Peepers.
I'd rather him be in a better role than Peepers. I just think.
No, who are you gonna make? Who are you gonna give a big role to? Like, what are you gonna make him
Peepers?
Into? He doesn't fit too many X-Men characters if you're trying to slide him in there.
No, he doesn't need to be in the X-Men. We'll figure something out. But
Peepers, I like it. Lock it in. Lock that in. Look at him. So it's Peter Quinn. His name is. He was actually debuted in a Captain America Annual #4 by Jack Kirby in 1977. But he was recruited by Magneto as a Brotherhood member, and his team was like with Slither and Shocker and Lifter and Burner, like just the worst Brotherhood characters you've never even heard of. Those could all show up, and we have a new student. Those characters, but they're like way more forgettable than Peepers. And so, like, Magneto just abandons them because they failed their first mission and they suck. So then they just changed their name to Mutant Force. And then just like started to be led by, oh my God, why? Yeah, all right. So then I don't know what to do about that anymore. I'm kind of at my wit's end with that soundboard. But so if anyone has any suggestions, hit me up on Facebook. How to fix that soundboard. So then they just start working for Mandrill. You know Mandrill?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they fought the Defenders. He was kicking. He was one of the 198 mutants who retained their powers after M Day. So I guess like Scarlet Witch likes Peepers. Maybe because he was in the Brotherhood. I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah. So he has telescopic eyesight that enables him to see through solid objects, as well as things that are miles beyond normal vision range or too small for ordinary vision. He can also project beams of energy from his eyes. It's all about those Peepers.
I like that Peepers.
Yeah, Peepers. So, yep, let's get out of here then, eh? What's the homework? What's the homework, Professor?
Watch the next episode of the. Oh wait, do I have a song for this?
Yeah, I just had the volume down on my soundboard because it's like stressing me out.
All I need now is for you to contact.
Wait, is there a new homework theme? There is, isn't there? Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Your job is to watch the next episode of this show, in which we see a more focused story on Spike, a return of Sabretooth, and some other more interesting stuff. This episode is called Spike Cam. SPYKE Cam.
Sabretooth's in that one.
Yeah, I just said that. Literally just said that.
I was thinking about something else.
I was thinking about Sabretooth. My love of Sabretooth.
I love Sabretooth. He's great. It's probably going to be a pretty good episode.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll get beat up by 2 teenagers again.
Oh, so what happened last time?
Yeah. Scott and Nightcrawler help Wolverine fight him in that old building.
Well, you know what else your homework is? Listen to
the Graphic Histories Podcast.
Yeah.
What else you got coming up? Listen to J.M. DeMatteis right now for sure. But who else is coming up?
Well, J.M. DeMatteis was the new episode, yes. But then next week we have...
Andre didn't fanboy. Kept it professional. Kept it cash.
Next week we have Inaki Miranda.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then after that is Chris Finoglio.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that are these 2 gentlemen, Mark Slate and Mark Arnold, who worked on Mark Slate and Mark Arnold, who did a really cool book that's out now about the Marvel humor magazine called Crazy. That came out many, many, many years ago when they tried to compete with Mad and Crack and all that stuff. So they did, and the bevy of all these amazing old creators that worked on it: Steve Gerber, Larry Hama. It's impressive, and it's extensive, the book. So it's called it's just called Crazy. They sent me a PDF of it to kind of review for the show. Crazy. I think it's available on Amazon wherever you get books. It's called Crazy, the magazine that dared to be dumb. And it's a really, really cool book if you're interested in the history of Marvel Comics and when they try to branch out and do like horror comics, or when they did I don't
remember them doing a Mad magazine rip.
They did. It was called Crazy.
I don't remember.
Stan Lee's in there. So they make fun of Stan in there a bit. There's all kinds of people that had bigger careers in Marvel later that worked on that book. So
I feel like Fred Hembeck would be in there.
He wasn't, I don't think, that I saw, but
no,
he was more a little. I think he was a little later on.
A little later, yeah.
Well, they have interviews with a lot of people. Bob McLeod does the forward. It's really cool. It's a beautiful book, and really 2 really cool guys that are really passionate about these old humor mags, and it really bleeds through. So yeah, check it out. Crazy, the magazine that dare to be dumb is the book. It's available on Amazon wherever you get your books, I believe. But yeah, check it out. You can order directly from their publisher as well on their site.
Well, yeah, definitely order directly from the publisher whenever you can. Support the show if you want to. Our show at patreon.com/X-Men Review Show. You can get some sweet merch over there. Help the show at the same time. Or you could just go straight to our Redbubble and see what's over there for merch as well. You can contact us at xmenreviewshow@gmail.com. Find our audio-only version wherever you get your podcasts. Please like, review, and subscribe. Give us a review. Why not? What better do you have to do than review an X-Men podcast?
That's right.
I mean, really. Think about it. And follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch if you so choose or desire. And check out our whole group of podcasts here over at ufpodcast.com. Anything else?
Nah, I'm good.
You good? Feeling good?
I'm feeling good.
All right. I feel good about leaving it here, too. Catch you next time.
Next time.
Hold it! Hold it! Stop the simulation!